This first poem is called Cat Killers. It's inconvenient, but I'll take care of it, Lydia said, and went out to the barn, lugging a 5-gallon bucket of water. Rollo watched from the back door as she struggled, leaning to her left like a comma, like an old woman balancing on an invisible cane, as the death bath splashed over the bucket's rim. Rollo wondered if the water knew what it was going to be made to do. Was it protesting, trying to escape? Lydia disappeared into the barn, and Rollo retreated inside, where he chain smoked in the kitchen. Half an hour passed before Lydia returned without the bucket. She was pallid, like a heroine in a Poe poem, or like one of Bela Lugosi's movie lovers. She stuck her head in the sink and threw water over it and gouged and rubbed, as if she were trying to scrub away the memory etched in her face. When she finished, Rollo handed her a towel. She savagely dried herself, then gave him a look that said, "My accomplice, you swine." When she spoke, she said, "I'll never do that again." There were tears in her eyes. They kept mewing, she said. They tried to climb out of the bucket, she said. And I kept pushing them under. It took forever. Rollo hugged her, but she pushed him away and would not look at him. By midday, all on their own, they'd accepted that something between them was broken. Next time, Rollo said, we'll do something different. Next time. Next time, they accepted the offer of the lady umpire and Potter to come over with her 22 and shoot a new batch of feral kittens. I'll pop the mother too, she said. That'll put a stop to it. She was country. She was matter of fact, even cheerful, as she went outside alone and opened the prison cage. Pop, pop, pop! That was it. Done. Lydia and Rollo stood in the sunset kitchen, shaking, unable to move, wanting desperately to get their hands around something, anything they could salvage, anything they could fix. This next poem is the only thing that needs to be said about this poem, I think, is Vanessa Bell is the great British painter who was also the adored sister of Virginia Woolf. And the poem is called No Little Genius. If I'd been a smart boy, perhaps a little genius, I would have found a way to meet Vanessa Bell before she died the day before my 8th birthday. A boy you read about in Dickens could have pulled it off, but not a stupid American kid who had no clue that anything existed outside the town that chained him, that called him mine, and sat him down in school each day to break his spirit, teaching him nothing he'd revere when he was old, like meeting Vanessa Bell, Virginia's sister, before she died. Of course, it was always too late to meet Virginia, who, as she wrote, felt the weight of every word in her fingers and crossed over 11 years before my birth. But Leonard, her husband, was still around when I was 15. What was I thinking? Not much. How hard would it have been to fly to England or hop a tramp steamer to Ireland? But the Jack London in me was dormant and would be for years. No genius then. Had I even heard of Leo Wolf? I can't say, lacking the memory of a genius. That chance also sailed away. So did the opportunity to cure the cancer that killed my mother, the addiction that wrecked my father, and the depression that drove my sister to kill herself, or the option of euthanizing the lousy men that killed so many women everywhere. Was it millions? Billions? But I had no genius for any of it, not even a little, not a damn drop. Much older now, I feel the sparks of genius all along my shadow. They're not spectacular and don't do much more than make me work with perseverance and joy at that which I love most, sharing stories, understanding pain, and changing bad to good if I'm able. And then this last poem is, well, self-explanatory. It's called Dancing Truth. The podcast I was listening to is in this poem is Gene Houston, the great Gene Houston. Listening to the inspirational podcast, I followed instructions and began to dance my truth around the living room. I felt it, truth, taking shape in uninhibited movement, despite my being the size of a lumberjack. Spinning, I caught Kat's face watching me from the sofa with a look of pure disgust. What in the hell are you doing? I could hear him in my head. What? I shouted. I'm dancing my truth. I went on, some steps, some twirls, but stopped, flushed and ashamed, and I looked at Kat. But he looked away, imperious, haughty. Maybe personal truth, so difficult for others, needs to be kept inside, restrained, tied down, a secret. It's not the popular view, perhaps, but at least one cat believes it and would have it so. And who knows, but he's the one who knows. Thank you.
Yeah.